Okay, so now we'll continue with some more fallacies. These are the fallacies that I like to call the ad arguments. These are arguments that are directed to the person or source, to popular opinion, authority, tradition, or the sympathy or pity of the audience. These are fallacies simply because they ignore the claim and focus instead on something else. So the first one we're going to talk about today is ad hominem. And I'm sure that many of you have probably heard of this particular fallacy. It's a very popular one. An ad hominem fallacy is an argument that attacks the character or the motives of a person rather than their stated idea. For example, if Jim said, according to the Department of Highway Safety, Ford makes the best pickup. They have the best reliability, safety, and cost ratings of any truck on the market today. And Stan might reply with, what do you know about trucks, Jim? You drive a Yugo. So here, Stan is attacking Jim's credibility, not based on the evidence or the merit of his arguments, but rather on what vehicle he drives. So Stan hasn't addressed any of the evidence. He relies solely on discrediting Jim by pointing out that he drives a less than desirable vehicle. So these kinds of attacks are real common during the election time right now. You'll hear this a lot. Of course you'd believe that. You're a liberal or a conservative or a Democrat or a libertarian or an atheist or a Christian or whatever, racial slur, on and on and on. Rather than focusing on the claims made in the argument, they attack the person on their actions or their behaviors or their characteristics. So the next one we'll talk about is ad populum. These fallacies attempt to win popular assent to a conclusion by arousing the feeling and enthusiasm of the multitude. So there are two general types of ad populum, and the first one that we'll talk about is snob appeal. So this fallacy attempts to prove a conclusion by appealing to what an elite or a select few, but not necessarily an authority in society thinks or believes. For example, Trump steaks, the world's greatest steak. They're relying here on Donald Trump's celebrity and his being known for only accepting the highest quality and using that to try and sell these steaks. Well, I don't know what Donald Trump happens to know about the beef industry, but I don't think I would take his word for it. There's another popular commercial going around right now with a celebrity chef, Scott Conant, for an Infiniti SUV. You may have seen it. It starts with him listing his accomplishments as a chef, all in an attempt to sell an SUV. I would trust Scott Conant with my steak, but I'm not sure I would trust him deciding what type of vehicle I should buy. So, as I said, there are two types of common ad populum fallacies. So the second one that we'll talk about today is bandwagon appeal. This fallacy attempts to prove a conclusion based solely on the grounds that all or most of the people believe it's true. For example, your friend might say, you have to go to the party this weekend. Everyone's going to be there. So if you're anyone, you'll be at this party. Well, obviously not everyone will be there. It's just a way to try and convince you to go to the party based on nothing. So many advertising slogans rely on ad populum, the ad populum fallacy. For example, America's favorite cereal, Honey Nut Cheerios. So everyone in America prefers Honey Nut Cheerios to any other kind of cereal. So if you're an American, this is your favorite cereal. And the last one that we're going to talk about as an ad fallacy is one of my favorites, ad misericordiam. It's kind of tricky to say, but it's probably my favorite. This is an appeal to sympathy or pity in the audience. So rather attacking the speaker or the claims, this one focuses solely on persuading the audience based on their emotion of sympathy or pity. So this fallacy comes in when other aspects of the proposed solution, such as whether it's even possible, how much is it going to cost, who else might be harmed by adopting this policy, all these things are ignored or responded to only with an impassioned plea to the audience. Some examples, if you're a little bit older like me, you probably remember the Sally Struthers commercials for Feed the Children. Look at these pictures of starving kids. Can't you please donate the cost of less than a cup of coffee a day to help them? Some other popular ones are the PETA commercials or the Sad Puppy commercials. These are playing strongly on your emotions